scorched earth.
Everyone, are you ready?
A new shoot sprouted from the earth. It bloomed in the morning sun and whispered to me. Like fireflies to a flame, life begets death. May we meet again in reality.
Hey gamers, it's me, Oz. I'm here with Firefly's best build video. Without any further ado, let's get started. A member of the Stellaron Hunters, clad in a set of mechanized armor known as Sam. Firefly is a fire destruction character, and like our current destruction lineup, she excels in 3 target scenarios, with competitive single-target damage. We'll cover her kit, relics, Lightcone options, team synergies, and my thoughts on her as a DPS. Let's get right into it. Let's start with her kit. Her basic attack deals 100% of her attack as damage to one enemy. Pretty basic stuff. Her skill consumes HP equal to 40% of her max HP and regenerates energy equal to 60% of her max energy. This energy regen is insane due to her having an ult cost of 240, basically getting her ult with one skill since the energy gauge is half filled due to her talent we'll see later. Similar to Blade, this HP loss cannot knock her out. She also advances her next action by 25%, which is inconsequential for most part since she gets her ult in one turn anyways. Her ultimate is where things get spicy. She enters complete combustion state, action advances herself by 100%, basically getting a free turn, increases speed by 60, weakness break efficiency by 50%, and increases enemies' break damage taken from herself by 20%. A countdown of speed 70 appears on the action order. Let's break down each one of these buffs. 50% break efficiency gives Firefly the edge to break enemies faster. This break efficiency buff is the same as Ruin May's skill buff, which speaks volumes of its potency. The countdown has a low speed of 70, and with Firefly herself getting a massive 60 speed buff, it is possible to get 4 turns during enhanced state. I won't bore you with the math, but 210 is the speed to reach to get 4 turns during ult, and the next breakpoint is 5 turns with 280 speed. 210 speed is quite easy to attain, as we'll see in the Relic section. Firefly's enhanced basic attack restores 20% of her max HP and deals 200% damage to a single enemy. You'll never be using this unless skill issue. Let's move to her enhanced skill. It restores 25% of her max HP, implants fire weakness to an enemy for 2 turns, and deals damage, scaling off her break effect and attack. This skill does 90 toughness bar damage to main target and 45 to adjacent enemies. The skill multiplier doesn't matter, since majority of her damage is break damage. Firefly's talent, Chrysalid Pyronexus, has some damage reduction and effect resistance stats which aid in survivability and resisting debuffs. Additionally, her energy is set to 50% if after entering battle it was lower than 50%. This trace ensures a first ult in one skill in every battle. All debuffs are removed from her when her energy reaches the energy cap, thus ensuring being able to ult immediately. Firefly has overloaded traces. Her Ascension 1 trace, Module Gamma, Core Overload, increases her break effect by 0.8% for each 10 attack exceeding 1800. This makes building Firefly much easier. One thing to note that this break effect updates with attack buffs except those which are converted from the buffer's own attack stat. It means Ting Yun and Robin's attack buffs don't give Firefly break effect. Her Ascension 2 trace, Module Beta, Auto-Reactive Armor, enables Firefly to dish out super break damage if she reaches certain break thresholds. Reaching 360 break effect is a necessity for the 50% super break multiplier. That's when she really shines. Her Ascension 3 trace, Module Alpha, Anti-Lag Outburst, enables Firefly to deal toughness, bar damage to non-fire weak enemies. This helps breaking adjacent enemies as her skill on the implants fire weakness to the main target. Let's move on to her Relic sets. The Relic set, Iron Cavalry against the Scourge, which comes out with Firefly, is her best in slot, giving her 25% defense ignore on reaching 250% break effect. The 2PC effect gives her 16% break effect. Remember how people talked about using Quantum Set on Kafka and Jingliu when they came out? This set exceeds the defense ignore provided by the Quantum Set, and that too with full uptime, making it a no-brainer. The planar relic she uses is Forge of the Kalpagni Lantern, which also comes out in 2.3. It increases the wearer's speed by 6%, and on hitting a fire-weak enemy, the wearer's break effect is increased by 40%. The other option is Talia, Kingdom of Banditry, which is a clearly inferior option. Not only do you miss out on 4% break effect, but also 6% speed, which is essential for reaching 210 speed. With the release of Divergent Universe, we are getting faster planar ornaments farming, making day one grind way easier. If you want to max her day one, I recommend saving all your fuels for relics and pre-farm the traces and ascension mats, if you haven't already. All materials needed by her are already in the game. Talking about main stats, she uses an attack body, speed boots, attack orb, and break effect rope. Attack body is self-explanatory. Speed boots help her reach 210 speed with 0 speed substats, assuming you use Ruan Mei. Fire damage orb doesn't affect break damage, so ATK orb is the only viable option. Break rope, as she has no need for energy regen, and using an attack rope means missing out on break effect. Her light cone options are quite simple. Her signature LC, Whereabouts Should Dreams Rest, is her best in slot, giving her break effect, extra break damage, and applies a speed reduction debuff on enemies, slowing their recovery from broken state. Of the Fall of an Aeon is her second best option, pretty lore accurate, with Glamoth being enetically modified to fight swarm disaster and all. Anyways, it giving massive stacking attack stats, which convert to break effect due to her trace. As you can see, she reaches the break effect requirements using Aeon. Please note that Ruan Mei's trace give 20% break effect, Harmony MC's ult gives 30%, which is tied to their own turn. I haven't included Watchmaker Set's buff and HMC's Eidolon 4, which makes the break requirements even less of a hurdle. Crit Firefly is not viable as her multipliers are low, and reaching the break effect thresholds is essential. Her best team is Firefly, Harmony MC, Ruan Mei, and Gallagher. In this team, everyone synergizes so well with each other. If team building was cooking, this would be the perfect soup.
Sugar, spice, and everything nice. These were the ingredients chosen to create the perfect little girl. But Professor Utonium accidentally added an extra ingredient to the concoction, Chemical X.
Anyways, for those who don't have Ruan Mei, can use Asta instead. If you do use Asta, use her ult when it is enhanced Firefly's turn, and use attack boots on Firefly. Spamming Firefly's turns using Action Advance when in enhanced state is a notable option. Bronya is the inferior option, being skill point intensive unless you have E1 Firefly, which uses no skill points on enhanced skills, swapping out Gallagher to go all in for damage. Sparkle can be used as well for this, but you miss out on damage unless she is E1 or E2. Using Huo Huo in the healer slot just for the attack buff is fine, but if you run a dot team on the other side, she is honestly better used there. Let's talk about her pull value. She is an incredible break DPS, complete at E0, capable of dishing out massive damage while healing herself, doesn't worry about enemies' weaknesses, and does it explosively. She is a powerhouse, and if I had to guess, she'd be up there with Acheron in tier lists. For those who plan to spend for Eidolons or have been saving up Jades for months, like me, let's see her Lightcone versus E1 value. Her LC is a clear winner in damage output, but the ease of use provided by E1 is quite phenomenal. In my opinion, E1 is better than her LC, as it is also a step to E2, which is broken. Her E2 gives her a turn immediately after breaking or defeating an enemy in enhanced state. This has a cooldown of 1 turn. The cooldown can be abused using Bronya or Sparkle. Ideally, you should aim for E2S1, as that is the sweet spot for getting the best out of her. That's all I have for you gamers. Hope you learnt more about building Firefly. Let me know if you're pulling for her and how far are you going for her. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, and join my Discord. I occasionally stream on Twitch. Feel free to pop by. This is your host, Oz, signing off. See you folks in Star Rail.
Why do people choose to slumber? Because in the end, we will wake from our dreams. Shoulder 作戦実行